Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Pillars of Grief. And this is the second installment on my series that I'm doing all about the afterlife and all the questions that you want to know, you want to learn about, and questions that I get asked about all the time. So when we come back, we're going to dive into that question. So make sure you stay with us and also stay with us to the end, because I'm going to be making a little announcement about my group. As long as I don't forget to do that, because sometimes I do. But join me in a moment when we're going to dive into the next question, which I'm sure is on your mind and many, many other people. God bless. Okay, guys, welcome back to Pillars of Grief. So here's the thing. I get asked this question all the time, and it's, why do my loved ones stop communicating with me? Why have they? I used to have communication. I got communication regularly. I heard from my mother, my father, or my sister, brother, whatever, whoever, even your friend, and it's often quite disconcerting because you kind of feel a bit abandoned. You feel like, well, I feel lost again, or maybe they've gone. And I have so many people that come to me and they'll say, well, is it because they've gone on to another level? Is there different levels in the spirit world? And yeah, there is different levels in the spirit world, but it's not as clean and clear as we would think, right? Because the minute we think about our loved ones communicating, and you have to think about this. It's not that they've gone on. They haven't gone on to a different level. A lot of people will say, and some other mediums will say, yeah, they've gone on to a different level. They're not communicating the way, or they've kind of evolved in the spirit world, and therefore they're at a higher vibration, and they can't. I've heard all that. They can't communicate with me. It's a load of rubbish. Or it's that they have gone on to a job, they're doing another job in the spirit world, and they don't have time. And the problem is that then that does actually create some kind of trigger in you, and it makes you feel that you're abandoned again, and it makes that grief maybe kind of rear its head. Not that I've always said we can't heal through grief. Grief is something that we have to integrate. So let me just answer this question. When you experienced signs from your loved ones, right? Or I'm putting my chair over here. I'll have a wee lean on this. When you've experienced your loved ones coming through, you've experienced many messages. You've maybe even dreamt about them, right? And then all of a sudden it stops. Now, I did a video on this a long time ago, but I want to kind of go into it a little bit more. And again, I'll go into it even deeper in the course that I have in my community. But here's what I want to tell you. They haven't gone, right? They haven't gone. They haven't disappeared. And they haven't gone on to the different levels in the spirit world either, that you can't communicate with them anymore. And it's not that they've gone on and they've got a new job in the spirit world and then they don't have time for you anymore. Because imagine feeling like that. Imagine like thinking, well, my mother's too busy and she don't come through. She don't bother about me anymore. It kind of can cause a little bit of bit of a psychological imbalance. There's a bit of mental health issue there when you think about it, right? So I don't want you to think about that, guys. What I'll tell you is this: the reason that they're not communicating as much is not because they have evolved. It's actually because you've evolved, right? And also that there could be another reason potentially, and it might be your level of grief that you're experiencing. So if you think about it, if you're so used to communicating, I know people that are communicating with their loved ones regularly, and then it becomes a bit of a crutch, right? It becomes, they feel that they can't live in the world because they have to be in constant communication with their loved one. That is not a good thing. That's not you evolving. That's not you moving on. And it doesn't mean that if you move on that you forget about them. But you have come to rely on that communication. You know on the other side that it's not healthy for you not to live your life. It's not healthy for you to just keep holding on and trying to communicate constantly, because you're not going through your journey the way that you should be. And so the other reason is that you have evolved and you're happy and you know they're alive and you know that they're on the other side, and there's an element of peace inside you. And so because there's that element of peace inside you and that acceptance, you've become aware of their presence, you become aware of the signs round about you, you become aware of maybe them dreams, and so you're happy. You know that they're still alive, you know that they're in the spirit world, in the heavenly realms, and you know they're not trapped, as a lot of other people will say. They're trapped in between this realm and that realm, or they're trapped on this level of the spirit world. And they can't. That's just a lot of rubbish, right? It's not that they're trapped, and it's not. It's really, it's for your benefit. They don't want you holding on to them as a crutch. They don't want you to constantly have to feel that you're always going to be in touch with them, because that's not healthy for you. That doesn't mean that you get to a point of acceptance and go through your journey. And like I said, on the other side of the coin is that, yeah, you have accepted them, right? You've accepted that they're there and you know they're alive, and so you're happy. So they don't have to come through as much as what they did before, because you've come to a place of acceptance. Like, I don't hear from my dad every single day, and now I don't hear from my friend Sheila or my mother-in-law, because I know they're alive. I know they're there. I've accepted it. My wife has accepted it. But every now and again, yes, we do hear from them. It doesn't stop them coming to you. It just gets to the point where you have become aware that they're still alive and that they're moving on in their life, because there's an element, and I've talked about this before as well, and certainly in my other videos, there's an element of selfishness in grief, because it's all about, well, they've left me. It's all about my loss and my this and me and me and me and me. And we tend to forget about our loved ones on the other side, are trying to live their life on the other side, because they've got a life on the other side. They want to learn things, they want to develop. It's not that they're going on to different levels, ladies and gentlemen. They're not doing that and then getting more and more distant from you. It's only one or two things. And that's what I said. It's either that they don't want you to utilize them as a crutch so that you cannot move through your grief and integrate it, or two, that you've come to that acceptance that they are in the spirit world, they are happy, and that you can live your life here and they can live their life there, and you can still communicate. That's really important to understand, ladies and gentlemen. So don't think about that they're going on and that I'm being abandoned again. That's not true. And they're not moving on to different realms. Yes, there's levels in the spirit world. Of course there is. There's lower levels, there's higher levels. It goes back to, in the Bible, Jesus said there's many mansions in my Father's house, which kind of is indicative of the different levels within the spirit realms, vibrational levels, if you like. Then there's a lot of people out there that have these theories and conspiracy theories that they don't cross over. There's a false light. They go to the false light. They get trapped between these, or they get almost, I've heard this as well, that they get kidnapped by aliens, other spirit beings. And I mean, really, it's just ridiculous. It doesn't do you any good. And it doesn't do you any good for your grieving process either. But to recognize that you don't need them, right? In order for you, they want you to live. They're still connected to you. They'll still send you signs. And the other thing is that if you're not dreaming about them as much, it's either that you've come to an acceptance that you're going through. It might even mean that they're not. Let's say it was a relationship. Let's say it was a husband or a wife, right, or a girlfriend, boyfriend, and they've crossed over, and they may have that not disconnection, but they may have not been communicating you as much because they know maybe there's another relationship about to come into your life. Maybe that's part of this process. And so they don't want, they want you to continue on. They've maybe orchestrated you connecting with someone else, whether it's a love relationship, whether it's just a friend relationship, whether it's a relationship that's been orchestrated in the spirit world to help you move through things. That doesn't matter. The fact is they're seeing this. They know what's going to happen, and so it's maybe been orchestrated that side. So they tend to then don't connect with you as much, because they don't want you to have a negative outcome. They don't want you to have a negative feeling about it, or to feel any element of guilt or shame or anything like that. So you have to come to a point where you get, you become happy in your life, that you know that they're still there and that you can communicate with them, but they don't necessarily have to be at your beck and call. And that's why I say this, we have a selfishness in our grief. Even I understand the burden of grief. I understand what you go through. I have been intimately acquainted with grief all of my life. And so if you need support, then obviously you can go beyond this channel and you can join my free community. And in that community, you can find more support and you can engage with me direct. So click the link below if you would like to get access to my free community, Pillars of Grief, and I'll see you over there. Losing, family members that Joe and I had lost this year, we've tripped in ourselves into that. We're angry that they left us. We're angry that Mum left us. We're angry that Sheila left us and our friends, and they've crossed over. And that's kind of the anger down to us. It's how we feel. I'm going to sit down now. You're going to see me coming down. If you're listening on the podcast, you won't see this, but I'm just putting you see in the background, if you're watching, that's me and the Queen Mother in the background. Anyway. Okay. Now I go down here. So I don't want you to get yourself in a bit of a tiz right? Thinking that they're not communicating for any other reason. And there's so many people, you've got to think about it. There's so many people I know. I knew a woman many, many years ago who had effective communication with us, but couldn't move on because she was continually trying to connect with her husband. Constantly trying to connect. And she wasn't moving on in her life. And she couldn't really let go. Now that's not healthy for your mental health. That's not a good thing, right? Because you can't live your life. It was getting to the point where she wouldn't go to a restaurant, she wouldn't go out, she wouldn't go for the weekend. She wanted to do communication. She was meditating all the time. She was trying to connect. She was even utilizing the Ouija board. That's not healthy. Really, that's not healthy. So let me just reiterate this point. Your loved ones will know how you are mentally. They'll feel the energy that you've come to a point of acceptance, and they don't need to be there. You don't have to. They don't have to be that crutch for you, and so there's no need for them to be constantly in connection with you, because they'll be in connection with you when it means something, or when they feel that you're ready to accept it, and they'll maybe just send you a little sign around you, or you'll dream about them maybe down the road. And as I've said many, many times, I haven't once dreamt of my father, not once, right? So don't be upset, in fact, thinking that you're not, even that you don't dream about your loved one, because there's so many other ways you get signs. So, and I've got to the point, I don't always hear from my dad, because I've got to the point, I know he's alive, I know he's busy, I know he's learning things, I know he's developing. I don't have to hear it from him constantly. But it's nice every now and again that I get to hear him. And I also recognize that if I was continually trying to connect, it means that I'm not integrating my grief journey. I'm not integrating it. I'm not accepting it and moving through it and learning from it. Because remember, I've said many, many times, grief can be your greatest teacher or your greatest nemesis. It's really down to you, right? It's really down to how you go through this. So, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is really what it boils down to, is that your loved ones haven't another vibration. They haven't gone on to another layer within the spirit world and left you abandoned again, like you felt they were before. It's just that they know they don't want you to just utilize them as a crutch and not go through your journey and not learn from it. They want you to live your life. They want you to go and meet new people. They want you to, because life is the greatest gift that we're given. Don't spoil it. Experiences in this world are the greatest things that we can have. Even the negative and frustrating things, what we all go through. It's not about politics. It's not about material things. It's about the experiences of learning to live in a beautiful world, in a world that has so much more benefit than we see anything that's negative. Don't get me wrong, yes, there's bad in the world, there's bad in the spirit world, there's good in the spirit world, there's good in this world. You know, we only know these things because the polar opposites, because we get to experience them. Experience is a fundamental importance to our existence and even our experience of grief and the learning, the lessons that we can have going through. So if you're a person who just that's constantly trying to connect with your loved ones, and then you're getting upset because they're not responding to you with your expectation, then ask yourself the question, am I being selfish in my grief? Am I not allowing them to live their life? Are you to the point where you can't experience the rest, your life because you feel you're being judged, or you feel that the connection's not for all the time? That's not good. Or is it great that you feel that, well, okay, I want to experience life, and you know they're there, and you can still connect with them when you want. You can still send a thought out. Just don't have that expectation that, one, I have to have a dream, or I have to have a sign. I have to be in communication with them all the time. And also remember that there's people out there that think they're in communication all the time, and they're not. They're actually creating the communication in their own mind. They don't have any signs. They don't have any evidence. But that's because there's something that they're needing. They're needing that connection. They can't let go. They can't learn from their grief. And so that can be another issue. It can be a mental health problem. It can be a mental health issue. It can be a catalyst even to psychosis. So there you go, guys. Your loved ones don't just stop communicating because they've left you and gone on to new and better things. They know, they want you to experience life, and they don't want you to use them as a crutch. And that's the simple explanation for it. And even if they are evolving, which they will do on the other side, it doesn't stop them communicating with you, and it doesn't stop them visiting you, it doesn't stop them seeing you. But you don't have to use them as a crutch. You need to come to the place of acceptance that they're still alive, that they're over there, they're learning, they're growing, they're developing. And the fact that they're not communicating with you as much maybe means that you're learning, you're developing, and that's a good thing. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've got any questions, then please reach out to me. Thank you for joining me today. Again, it's just a quick one. This is, serious. The question number 2, why do my loved ones stop connecting with me or stop communicating with me? They don't. It's really down to you, right? So I was going to say, mention towards the end here, it is getting into the holiday season. I'm going to keep this going, but I'm going to have a little celebration, if you like, a little remembrance service, something small within my community. If you're a member of the community, I'm going to be announcing this over the holiday season, where we're going to get together, we're going to say some prayers, we're going to share some memories, we're going to light candles, and we're going to remember our loved ones. This is not for mediums, it's not for people who are on a grief journey, who want to learn. You can come in. If you're part of the community, you're already going to get an invite. If you're not part of my community, then connect with me. Go into my website, jockbrocas.com/grief-group. Put in the application form, come and join the community. And then over the holiday season, we're going to have a couple of little services, little prayers, little get together. I want to remember my father. I want to remember my mother-in-law. I want to remember Sheila. So this is not about me teaching her in. It's about us getting together and our loved ones, and maybe even sharing some stories, maybe even... if you want to come forward and say something or put some kind of memory through, then that's what we're going to do. This is my invitation to you guys. I'll be doing answer another question very soon. So if you've got any questions about this question, then do ask that. Just remember, they haven't gone on, they haven't abandoned you, they just don't want you to rely on them. They want you to experience life and go through it. And again, let me reiterate, if you're already aware and embracing the lessons in your grieving journey, it's because they don't need to they know that you're happy, they don't need to communicate with you, but it won't stop them sending you signs and watching over you. God bless. Hi, thank you for joining me here today. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast if you are interested in anything that I have to teach, if you want to learn more. Make sure you ask questions below in the comments and I'll make sure to answer them. Come back regularly because I teach many different subjects to do with grief, spiritual development, and spiritual crisis. So make sure subscribe below and I'll see you in the next one.